Today, we're digging into a super simple but incredibly powerful technique. It's designed to help you stop fighting the same fires over and over again and actually start solving problems for good. Let's get right into it. So, tell me if this sounds familiar. You fix a problem, you put in all the work, you ship the solution, everyone celebrates, and then boom, a few weeks later, it's back. It's one of the most frustrating cycles at work, right? Maybe for you, it's that crucial project deadline that just keeps slipping, no matter how hard everyone seems to be pushing. Or maybe it's the one we all dread, that production outage that brings everything to a screeching halt, sending everyone into a frantic scramble. And of course, these things almost always lead to an angry customer, which is the last thing any of us want. The reason this cycle keeps happening is that we're often so focused on putting out the fire that we never stop to ask why the fire started in the first place. Well, there is a way to break that cycle. It's a beautifully simple technique called the 5 whys, and its whole purpose is to get you past the symptoms and straight to the real heart of the matter. The concept itself is almost deceptively simple. You start with a problem, and then you just ask, why? And you keep asking why, usually about 5 times. And with each question, you peel back another layer of the onion. Each answer you get just becomes the basis for your very next question. Now, this is absolutely the most crucial part. The 5 whys is not a witch hunt. It's not about finding the person who screwed up. The moment it becomes a blame game, people get defensive, they clam up, and you'll never find the truth. The real goal here is to understand the process failure. It's about creating an environment where the team feels safe enough to share what really happened. And this isn't some new age management fad either. The 5 whys was actually developed way back in the 1930s by Sakichi Toyoda. Yep, the founder of Toyota. It became a cornerstone of the legendary Toyota production system, and almost a century later, it's still used everywhere, from car manufacturing to modern software development. That's some serious staying power. Behind it is this really powerful Japanese philosophy, Genshi Genbutsu, which translates to go and see. The idea is that you can't solve problems by sitting in a boardroom and making assumptions. You have to go to the source, to the shop floor, and see what's actually happening with your own eyes. You solve problems by understanding reality. Okay, theory is great, but let's see how this actually works in practice. We're going to walk through 2 classic examples to really see how the 5 whys uncovers what's really going on. So let's take that missed project deadline. We start with why number 1. Why was the deadline missed? Answer, the team couldn't complete their tasks on time. Okay, that's the symptom. Why number 2? Why couldn't they? It turns out they were totally overloaded with other work. Okay, getting warmer. So why number 3? Why were they overloaded? Because there was no clear prioritization of their work. That leads us to why number 4. Why wasn't their work prioritized? Well, the project manager admitted they had no real visibility into the team's workload. And that brings us to the final and most important question, why number 5? Why no visibility? Because the company's project management tools were completely out of date. And boom, there you have it. The power of this is right there. The issue wasn't people working too slow. The real problem was the system itself, a process failure caused by outdated tools. You could have told the team to work harder all day, and it would have solved absolutely nothing. All right, let's do a tech example, a production outage. Why 1? Why did the service go down? The immediate cause was a database connectivity issue, but we don't stop there. Why 2? Why did that happen? It was due to a network problem that popped up during maintenance. Okay, so why 3? Why on earth was this maintenance happening during business hours? Turns out it was an emergency, the absolute last day to replace some hardware before it went end of life. That leads to the real question, why 4? Why was this left to the very last minute? The simple answer, the maintenance wasn't on the shared engineering calendar. No one even knew it was coming. And there it is again. What looked like a purely technical failure on the surface was actually a breakdown in communication and planning. It was a process problem. You could spend weeks trying to optimize the database, but the real, lasting fix is to improve how maintenance gets scheduled and communicated. So, now that you can see the potential here, let's talk about how to do this right. Because there are a few common traps people fall into, and then I've got a fantastic pro tip for taking this whole thing to the next level. To really make this work, you've got to avoid a few things. First, don't stop too early. That second or third why can feel like the answer, but it's usually still just a symptom. Keep digging. Also, make sure you have the right people in the room. the ones who actually do the work. Their knowledge is gold. And, I'm going to say it again, you have to relentlessly protect the group from blame. And finally, don't accept vague answers. If someone says poor communication, you have to push back. Which communication? Between who? About what specifically? Get to the details.
Now, for my favorite part, you can use the 5 whys for more than just fixing problems. You can actually use it to connect technical work directly to customer value, and this is where it gets really, really powerful.
Imagine an engineer says, we need to add a Jira plugin. Instead of just nodding, you ask, why? They say, to see how long tickets stay in each status. Okay, interesting, but why does that matter? To measure our delivery flow. Okay, getting warmer. Why do we need to measure that? To see how long it takes a customer request to go from an idea to being released. We keep digging. Why is that important? So we can identify blockers and reduce our time to market. And for the final payoff, why do we want to do that? To deliver value faster and get quicker feedback from our customers. Do you see what just happened? In 5 simple questions, we completely transformed a dry, technical task into a compelling story about delivering real value to customers. That's a conversation that gets everyone, from the engineers to the CEO, excited and on the same page. So here's my challenge to you. The next time you're faced with one of those frustrating recurring issues, I want you to try this. The next time something breaks, a deadline slips, or a customer is unhappy, just pause for a moment. Resist that powerful urge to immediately jump to a solution or figure out who was responsible. Instead, get the right people together and just ask, why? And then ask it again and again, and keep going until you find something you can actually fix for good. So just think about it. What's that one nagging issue that your team keeps facing? By digging just a little bit deeper, you might be absolutely amazed at the simple, powerful change that's just waiting to be discovered.